people are still allowed to be here. Because it seems like I get maybe 20 minutes if I'm lucky before, not, what am I saying, 20 minutes, maybe like 10 minutes before everybody starts falling off. And it's either me doing the exact same thing I always do somehow then makes people not want to watch, or they're getting kicked off. So I'm going to just tell myself that they're getting kicked off so I feel better. And if I'm wrong, then by all means, just like with everything else, explain it to me. But I accidentally found myself going down this rabbit hole that has me looking at bridges once again, which I didn't even mean to. I was looking up the history of television. And I ended up on Eiffel and how, you know, these old famous bridges that Eiffel was known to build. Excuse me. These huge bridges that were built in a year or two, a little over a year. Pam, good morning. Glad you're here. Now, see, I'm absolutely glad I restarted, if only because Pam's here. Good to see you, Pam. So, we are. Should we read Gustav Eiffel real quick? Alexander Gustav Eiffel. What? Bonnickhausen dit Eiffel? I don't know what that means. December 15th, 1832 to December 27th, 1923. Was a French civil engineer, graduate of École Centrale des Arts et Manufactures. He made his name with various bridges for the French railway company, most famous, the Garabit Viaduct, which is, what did I say, 1,800 feet long? He's, I'll show you guys real quick. This is 1,854 feet. Built that bad boy in just over under 2 years. In under 2 years, made of wrought iron in 1882. Construction started in 1882 and ended in 1884.
He didn't build it single-handedly. He had a crew.
They never say who the crew is. They never give you that. Huh?
Doesn't matter who the crew is.
It does matter. A construction company, how many men it took, like these are details that do matter. How many men did it take to do this amazing construction? How many horses did it take to get all that? Like those are the details that you'll never find because they don't have them. And they've trained you to think that those details don't matter, but they do. Let's see. Cincinnati Bengals and the Ravens. Oh, Ravens all day. Did I win last time? Was I right? I don't remember. Last time you asked. I hope I was right about that. Morning, sports highlights person. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. Just stop. Says the profile that literally says troll. Yeah, I sure don't know what I'm talking about. I wonder where I'm getting my information from. Where is my source again? I sure don't know any of this stuff. He is best known for the world-famous Eiffel Tower, designed by his company and built for the 1889 Universal Exposition in Paris, and his contribution to building the Statue of Liberty in New York. After his retirement from engineering, Eiffel focused on research into meteorology and aerodynamics, making significant contributions in both fields. Well, of course he did.
Astrophysicist.
Well, of course he did. Now, isn't that sweet?
And a dentist.
Oh, look. He looks just like all the rest of them. Gosh, that's weird how they all have that same look to them. Like, if I told you, if I told you that was Albert Einstein's brother, would you be like, nah, that's impossible?
Rich, that's his cousin. That's his brother.
Let's see. Early life. Was born in France. The Côte d'Or, the first child of Catherine Millaine Monus and Alexander Brickenhouse d'Eiffel. No, Bonnickhausen. Sorry, Bonnickhausen. Bonnickhausen. That sounds very Chinese. He sounds very Chinese, doesn't he? He was a descendant of Marguerite Frederique Lidrins and Jean-René Bonnickhausen, who had immigrated from the German town of Marigmagen and settled in Paris at the beginning of the 19th century. They just moved on down from Germany to fuck yeah. People were moving and traveling all over the place back then, like it was no big fucking deal. The family adopted the name Eiffel as in reference to the Eiffel Mountains in the region from which they had come. I mean, that's what happens all the time. I know when I moved to California, I called myself Guy Williams Northville after the town that I was from. Right? Isn't that what you did? Angela Cosadinos Novi? How come they did it and there's not a whole bunch of other Eiffels like that? How come nobody else did it? Like Brickenhausen wasn't fucking specific enough. They wanted to be separated from all the other Brickenhausens that were running around. Brickenhausen did Eiffel. Yeah, no. Oh, you meant the Eiffel ones. Oh, I thought you were talking about the other Brickenhausens. Or, no, I'm sorry. Bonnickhausen. Even worse. Bonnickhausen. Although the family always used the name Eiffel, Gustav's name was registered at birth as Bonnickhausen dit Eiffel and was not formally changed to Eiffel until 1880. What?
Right before he built his bridge.
Right before everything happened. Almost as if to fit the narrative, because nobody was going to be talking about the Bonnickhausen fucking tower. Who's going to be saying that German ass shit? We need Eiffel. Eiffel is sexy. That's the Eiffel Tower. The Bonnickhausen tower. No, I'm not saying that. The Germans are the bad guys. We can't have a big ass tower that's going to last forever, dedicated to them. The Germans. Ugh. The germs. The bad guy germs. At the time of Gustav's birth, his father, an ex-soldier, was working as an administrator for the French army. But shortly after his birth, his mother expanded a charcoal business she had inherited from her parents to include a coal distribution business. And soon afterwards, his father gave up his job to assist her. Yeah, you think? You think? Again, another story of women working. I didn't think women were working and shit back then. Due to his mother's business commitments, Gustav spent his childhood living with his grandmother. Oh, he wasn't put in a boarding house? But nevertheless remained close to his mother, who was to remain an influential figure until her death in 1878. The business was successful enough for Catherine Eiffel to sell it in 1843 and retire on the proceeds. Eiffel was not a studious child and thought his classes at the time at the Lince Royal in Dijon boring and a waste of time. Although, in his last 2 years, influenced by his teachers for history and literature, he began to study seriously, and he gained his baccalaureates. Is that the bachelor? Oh, the bachelorettes. A bachelorettes in humanity and science. So, this dude who, if you were to look up his history, has literally didn't win any awards for being this great student or anything. And the last 2 years of study was like, you know what? I need to build the Eiffel Tower. I'm gonna learn. I'm just gonna figure this shit out. I'm gonna be a studious person from now on. You hear about those stories all the time. And it's always fascinating to me. It's like, okay, so you're telling me somebody who went through the majority of their schooling not learning how to do those things. Like what people like my wife don't understand is those skills, even though she was, self-taught, she was also self-taught but encouraged by because she showed the interest in. And the skills that she had by the time she got to high school and shit were much more, refined, and she knew exactly what she was doing. I know if I use this color highlighter, it means this. I know if I tag a page with this, it means that. Like, she knew what she was doing. So to say that somebody just in the last 2 years of schooling in the mid 1800s just decided that they were going to start being studious and they became, that's stupid. That's stupid. I'm so sick of it being stupid like that. Where someone like my dumbass can just pick it apart. An important part of his education was played by his uncle, Jean-Baptiste Mollerat, who had invented a process for distilling vinegar and had a large chemical works near Dijon. Of course, don't we all have that uncle? That inventor uncle who invented a process that's still probably used today and had a big company along with their mom's charcoal company.
Back then, there weren't a lot of processes in place. So every time somebody came up with an assembly line or whatever, it was a new process.
Yeah, but how? Look, so you're in this random French village somewhere off in the who knows where, and you come up with a process for distilling or whatever. Now, you're probably not going to share your process because you don't want other people to, benefit from your ideas.
No,
At least that's what.
that didn't exist yet. That kind of thievery.
Of course it did.
No, it was more of.
No, if you had
I want to share this with the
if
world,
if you had a business, you did not want your competitors to have your business practices. Why would you want to put yourself out of business like that?
But it wouldn't. They didn't think like that back then.
Yes, they did. That's what the capitalists.
They wanted to be known for their.
See, the problem with that is you think these things, and I know these things. I look this shit up. You assume it because it makes sense, but in the reality, it is what it is. These people were the robber barons of the world, and that mentality, like, to get what they were said to have achieved, they couldn't have been just giving everybody the secrets. But to think that he created this process and it just went everywhere, everybody just knew it, like, it's interesting. And one of the uncle's friends, the chemist Michael Parrot, both men spent a lot of time with young Eiffel, teaching him about everything from chemistry and mining to theology and philosophy. There you go. That's how it happened. So there's no real record of him learning anything, and apparently what records we do have somehow show him to not be the best student. But he had these uncles that he spent all his time with, who were these businessmen who ran these large businesses, who also had their little nephew tagging along and were like, hey, let me teach you all about these things whilst I'm running my business and whatnot. Here, we'll jump into the horse-drawn carriage and ride over to Germany. Make sure you grab an extra wooden wheel in case we have a breakdown. You mean what? That's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. Eiffel went on to attend college, to attend the College Saint Barbie in Paris, to prepare for the difficult entrance exams set by engineering colleagues in France. Yeah, those 1890s, 18 whatever it was, entry exams for the French engineering corps, they must have been difficult. They must have been difficult. It's a good thing he had his uncles to teach him these things.
Okay.
Because his uncles, they knew. And qualified for entry to two of the most prestigious schools, the École Polytechnique and the École Centrale des Arts et Manufactures, and ultimately entered the latter. During his second year, he chose to specialize in chemistry and graduated ranking at 13th place out of 80 candidates in 1855. This school that he went to had a chemistry program that had 80 participants in 1850. That's how big the school was. It was an arts and manufacturing school that had a chemistry program with 80 people in it, and they ranked them, and he was 13th. Gotcha. Okay. Well, here. École Centrale Paris was a French Grande École. Grande École. What is that? Is that a French thing that I'm not? I don't know what that means. She's a brick in housing. That's fucking funny. I'll give it to you. École?
When you see the line, it changes the E to the hard.
Okay, so Grande École. What's that? A Grande École, a great school, is a specialized top-level education institution in France and some other previous French colonies such as Morocco and Tunisia. It was also known by its official name, the École Centrale des Arts et Manufactures. In 2015, École Centrale Paris merged with Supélec to form Centrale Supélec, a constituent college of the University of Paris, Saclay. It was active from 1829 to 2015. That's pretty funny. It was founded in 1829, and it was among the most prestigious and selective Grande Écoles, rooted in rich entrepreneurial traditions since the Industrial Revolution era. It served as the cradle for top-level engineers and executives who continue to constitute a major part of the industrial leadership in France. Since the 19th century, its model of education for training generalist engineers inspired the establishment of several engineering institutes around the world, such as the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne in Switzerland, the Faculté Polytechnique de Mons in Belgium, as well as other member schools of the École Centrales Group Alliance in France, Morocco, China, and India. Between 1832 and 1870, the Central School of Arts and Manufacturers produced 3,000 engineers and served as a model for most of the industrialized countries. That was said by Matthias Peter Poston Michael, 1978, The Cambridge Economic History of Europe, Cambridge University Press. École Centrale des Arts et Manufactures was founded in 1829 as a private institute by Alphonse Lavelle, a lawyer and a prominent businessman from Nantes, who... What's wrong with you? Who put forward most of his personal capital into founding the school, together with three top scientists who became the founding associates: Eugene Peslet, Jean-Baptiste Dumas, and Theodore Oliver.
None of the channels work.
There you go.
Yeah, Trump stuff.
Notably, Lavelle was a shareholder of Le Globe, which became, in 1931, the official organ of the Simonian movement. Saint Simonian movement. Of course, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that you live in a time now where when stuff like that happens, that's what you feel? You're like, oh shit, here it comes. That's how that, and you want to talk about stress, you want to talk about PTSD, you want to talk about terrorism. It's not my fault. If I was sitting here telling you all the time it was the devil, it was the devil, it was the devil, you'd call me stupid. You wouldn't think anything of it. I'm not that convincing. The only thing that's convincing is the fact that I read it to you and you see it for yourself.
Ignorant.
But you're not blissful. If you were blissful, it would be a different thing. I wouldn't say anything. If you were, no, you weren't.
Blissfully ignorant.
You never were. You never were. Long before me, you were not blissfully ignorant. You wouldn't have found me interesting if you were. The founding vision of École Centrale was to train multidisciplinary engineers who would become the first doctors of factories and mills of the then emerging industrial sector of France, at a time when most other engineering schools trained students for public service. As the scientific discoveries of this era were beginning to have major impact on the industrial development in Europe, a new breed of engineers with a broad and rigorous knowledge of sciences and mathematics were needed in order for France to develop its industry and consequently among the world's superpowers. If that doesn't sound like a goofy ass book report, I don't know what the fuck does. What information are you going to take from this? What, like, other than these mundane nonsense details, and with their broad and rigorous knowledge, all these fun words thrown in there to make the paper sound better. Can't wait till we run across our first have had taken, had went. The school was initially located in various premises in Paris, including Hotel Sale, which now hosts the Picasso Museum, and buildings which now belong to the Conservatoire National des Arts at Meters. Lavelle served as the first president of École Centrale. So he started the organization and it existed in these other magnificent buildings, but they weren't good enough for, I don't know. In 1857, Lavelle transferred the ownership of the school to the French state in order to ensure its sustainability. That's exactly what I was thinking. Are you sure? You tend to exaggerate. Under Napoleon's initiative for an imperial university, the school was then temporarily renamed the École Impériale des Arts et Manufactures. An important thing to do during a time of war is to rename a school. Right? Sir, the Germans are advancing over the mountains and we have a battle that's going to take place soon. Cool. We're going to have to do something about that. But first, has anybody changed the name of that school yet? Because that's really been bugging me. They keep posting on a bulletin board that somebody then sees and gets on a horse or sends a carrier pigeon, where I can then, they draw a picture of the board and I can see the post and it has a couple of likes on it and shit. And it just shows that the school hasn't changed its name yet. It's like a spit in my face. I've made sure all the other schools around changed their names. Why hasn't this school changed its name yet? Damn it, I'm Napoleon. I mean, do you know how stupid this is? I knew a lot of men hated women, but I didn't realize how many women hated women. Yeah, no shit. But that's what I've been telling you for years. You dress up for women, you guys are the reason. Like, you guys have been made into the stupid, inferior, you know, like weak-minded, distracted creatures you are. And instead of you being the powerful, intelligent, women that you could be, you've been made into thinking that you and I have to compete in sports for you to feel like we're in some sort of equal league. Can Serena Williams, is she higher than number 700? John McEnroe doesn't think so. Oh my God, John McEnroe. How dare, like, what the fuck? Why is there any, the reason it is because women aren't fucking, like, big enough. Women haven't progressed enough to be able to say, hell yeah, the men just crush us. They're so much better than us in sports. It's not even funny. No, we don't deserve to make the same amount of money the men make. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much money they bring in? We hemorrhage money. The WNBA loses money every year. Thankfully, the men, take the cuts they do to allow the WNBA to exist. Never hear the women say anything like that. Did you travel outside the USA? Kinda. I've been to Hawaii, and I don't, Hawaii is pretty far outside the United States. I mean, we got to do a Hawaiian history too, because Hawaii's history is so fucked up. Why is it these Shriners commercials keep reusing the commercials of when the little boy and the other kid were really, really young? Both of those kids are old now. The one kid's in college, like he might even be out of college. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with, like, I just think they're manipulating you. Why are they showing you commercials of people that are much older as they were kids if they're not trying to manipulate you? It's just so fucking weird, man. Let's see. Napoleon changed the name. In 1862, graduates of the school were awarded accredited graduate diplomas in engineering with the official academic title of Ingénieur des Arts et Manufactures, which was the first of its kind in France. Again, so, like, the school was transferred in 1969 to a new campus located in Canterbury, Malbury. The Châtenay Malbury campus was designed by architect Jean Phaeton and was inaugurated by President George Pompidou, who was accompanied on this occasion by Robert Galley. Oh, okay. The school was renamed the École Centrale des Arts et Manufactures. In 2015, the school formed a strategic alliance with Supélec to create Centrale Supélec, which is part of the University of Paris-Saclay. The new campus is located in Gif-sur-Yvette, approximately 20 miles from the center of Paris. That's a weird story. It's a weird story. We were learning about Eiffel when we went down that road because I wanted to know about the school that he supposedly went to suddenly become, I'm going to build Eiffel Tower, Eiffel. Where he went to school for chemistry. Again, he was 13th place out of 80 candidates in 1885. I know I'm going with the 13th place guy. This was the year that Paris hosted a World's Fair, and Eiffel was bought a season ticket by his mother. What'd I tell you? Was bought. They have to throw those extra words in there. After graduation, the Bordeaux Overpass, Eiffel's first major work. Fuck yeah, he built that. Fuck yeah, he built that. That was his first major work. Why the fuck not? After graduation, Eiffel had hoped. There we go again. What did I tell you? Not Eiffel hoped. Eiffel had hoped. Just like a fucking book report. Like a college level book report, you start doing this shit, they start marking you down for it. But in high school and low level college, when they want a 5,000 word essay, you get away with this kind of shit. He had hoped to find blah, blah, blah. They had went to the store. I mean, I literally called it within a few lines because it's right there. It's there in front of you. These are book reports. These historical narratives we're given are designed so that, we all know you can't plagiarize. So the people all you have to do is just sort of reword it. Take some of the back sentences and switch them out for the front sentences and change this word, change that word. And now you have your book report that's just different enough so you can't get accused of plagiarizing. Like, this is so... If I wasn't right, my fucking wife, who's smarter than me in a lot of things, would be the first one to be like, no, that's not right. This makes total sense. She wouldn't even wait till afterward. She'd bust my balls right here, right now. The problem is that blissful ignorance that she was talking about, it goes away because she's too smart to fall for it. If it doesn't make sense, she's not just going to believe it because she's supposed to. At least once it's pointed out. You have to remember, most of the shit you actually do believe because you've never been encouraged to look into it or scrutinize it. Even if you were given the book report in high school, hey, you got to do a report on Eiffel. Your job is to report that he built all of these things. He was building bridges in less than a year and hopping over from this place to that place and building this and building that. It's not your job to question the legitimacy of that. Your job, of which you get paid for in grades, which then translate into freedom at home, and some of you actually get paid really well for good grades. Your job is to regurgitate as much word for word as you can without it being plagiarism. That's what you're supposed to learn how to do. It's not learn to be investigative. It's not learn to ask questions. It's not, learn to scrutinize. It's learn how to basically lie, right? They're teaching you how to, put it in your own words. Well, put it in your own words. Okay, so when it says he had went to this place, can I say he went without putting the had in there? Would that work? Or he found himself going to this place? Would that's enough of a change that now I can get a better grade? Literally, that's the secret to school for all you kids out there. Just go to any article that you're supposed to do the report on. See if there's any sentences you can switch around. You can change up the order, and then change whatever words you can change. If you can use better words, then use better words. And then when you use your bibliography and you cite where you got your stuff from, bibliography, because kids today get stuck doing that stuff, right? But when you do, and you say, I got this from this source, and they go and they look and they see, oh, well, it's basically exactly the same thing this source says. It's just in his own words. Now you're going to get a good grade. When you start understanding that, do you know how hard it is for me to push my kids into doing that shit? When I see it for what it is, when I know there's no fucking way they're ever going to use any of this shit ever in their adult life, ever. It's strange. It's like the whole Earth shape thing. My oldest is all about fitting in and thinks his dad's kind of crazy. But my youngest, like, he's the type that it has to make sense to. He's the type where he has to, when you say that this is what happens and he goes, yeah, but that's kind of dumb. He's not just going to believe it. And that's a problem. He has to be able to regurgitate. Can you imagine if college wasn't like one of the best times of your life, party-wise and having friends and all that? It was just more school, shitty school you didn't like. How many people do you think would actually do it? After graduation, I will hope to find work in his uncle's workshop in Dijon, as always. But a family dispute made this impossible. Aww. After a few months working as an unpaid assistant to his brother-in-law who managed the foundry, Eiffel approached the railway engineer Charles Nepeuve, who gave Eiffel his first paid job as a private secretary. Why in the Sam fucking Hill would he be working as an unpaid anything for any period of time?
Internships.
It's not what it says. An unpaid assistant to his brother. Assistant to his brother-in-law who managed the foundry. Well, I mean, what are you talking about?
When people used to fail open book tests in high school, I used to be genuinely confused. I get it now. People are stupid. All of that. They're playing to the stupid population.
This is what's smart. Your brother would be all about this. This covers the whole line. This covers stupid. It's like just smart enough for someone like your brother to fall for it, but just stupid enough to catch everybody.
He's really dumb. He might be intelligent, but he's really dumb.
Exactly. That's what I keep trying to tell you. The more you know, the dumber you sound. You start seriously. I use the same example all the time, but explain to me how a solar system happens. And see if you can keep a straight face. Yeah. The Big Bang blows up.
Stars collide.
No. See, you're already wrong. The Big Bang shoots out. So what they say is the Big Bang explodes. Then there's like this dark period. Then there's this period of all this shit flying out. And now you have like the singularity is projecting debris out. Little pieces of dust and dirt and all that in all directions at all times. Just a vomit. Just consistent for a while.
It's like Pigpen walking around,
wait.
leaving the dust and debris.
No, it's not, because that's we're not talking about in the vacuum of space. This is in the vacuum of space, and in the vacuum of space, the debris is flying in all these directions. When suddenly, for whatever reason, gravity pockets appear. Gravity pocket starts pulling all of the debris and dirt into itself, forming these clumps that then just keep clumping, and they get bigger and bigger. And then at some point, it lights itself on fire in space, and while it's flying out in a direction, it lights itself on fire. And then in a sort of fried egg shaped pattern, little gravity pockets then appear, which are essentially in rings around the fireball, and those gravity pockets suck more shit into them. And if they're in the semivius zone, the special area close enough to the sun but not too close, then they could possibly have life on them. But the inner planets, they form the clumps again, but now the inside of the clump lights itself on fire, and the outside forms land. And in our case, water, and then monkeys and people and fish and all that shit. Well, fish turn into lizards, lizards get destroyed, the lizards that don't get destroyed turn into birds and chickens and shit, and then more fish turn into monkeys, turn into people. Okay? Now, the other planets, there's other planets that are formed as well, and those planets are gas giants, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. But I don't know if those clumps necessarily work, but they're gas giants. But that's official.
Those aren't solid masses then, correct?
Well, that's what they say, but then when they showed us the comet crashing into Jupiter, it sure looked like it hit something solid.
Well, I mean, there's solid pieces floating together, held together.
No, it looked like it hit a solid foundation. It wasn't like they disappeared into the gases.
A mile-long chunk of...
Yeah, sure. No, they said that this comet, if it would have hit Earth, would have just annihilated Earth. It was so big, it would have just annihilated Earth. So Jupiter's just so fortunately huge that it was just a little ping ping. But that's literally how the universe exists. The Big Bang made the universe, and if you disagree with me, you're an idiot. Because that's the facts. Gravity pockets light themselves on fire, turn into stars and shit. Those stars manifest into, and then there's the black holes that are holes in space that not even light can escape, that suck things in and then poop them out the other side, and that's real. Like, there's no arguing this. This is what it is. As simple as stupid as I make it sound, tell me the more advanced version of that story. I mean, I've literally read it. They yada yada over a bunch of shit. This idea of these gravity pockets that just sort of appear. In what situation are things compressing so much in on themselves that they then reverse and turn into an explosion that just keeps vomiting shit out? Like, what are we talking about? This isn't, you telling me that now, and again, we don't know, is the singularity in the vacuum of space, or does the singularity create the vacuum? Like, is the singularity just a dot in a white on a white piece of paper or something? Like, is the universe this big empty place and the singularity is, I guess, in the middle of it and then fills it up with shit? Or does it also create the universe? It's the same thing with God. What creates God? Like, is God created inside the warehouse and then he starts filling up the warehouse with planets and shit like that? Or how does that work?
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, no, I mean, these are questions that can't be answered by the situation we live in, or the two options that we're given. However, the third option of us being the product of a more advanced version of us that's made an environment that we live in, and the reason why the Fibonacci sequence is in everything is because that's the core program that the computer works off of to create everything. Then you can answer, well, whatever, they made the chickens and then the chickens laid the eggs. I mean, or they made the eggs and then the chickens came from the eggs. Like, it's this idea that what came first, the chicken or the egg? Oh, the single-celled organism that turned into a double-celled organism that turned into a fish that climbed out of the water. That's what came first. That turned into a chicken.
I thought it was a dinosaur that turned into a chicken.
Well, it did. The fish turned into a dinosaur.
Lizard.
The dinosaur lasted for millions and millions of years until the rock fell from the sky. and then a rock fell from the sky and wiped everything out except some things. And some things survived, and they turned into chickens.
They
And
cavemen.
and no, the lizard, no, so stupid. The lizards turned into birds. Fish came back out of the water, turned into monkeys, turned into cavemen. Get your shit right.
So was it two different type of fish, or did they flip a coin and say heads? You turn into birds.
I want to know why there's no
Tails.
fish coming out of the water walking around still. How come we're not getting the next evolution of things that are walk like?
It was like
a one-off.
No, it was the.
Couldn't have been a one-off.
It was They were like suicide bombers.
Well, then how'd they survive?
Because they weren't allowed to procreate.
Can you imagine the fish that's like?
They didn't.
That's like.
They chose the 18-year-olds that didn't have kids.
That's like
and weren't
saying.
married.
That's like saying. At some point, a squirrel decides it's gonna go in the water and become a water squirrel, and then just lives. Decide, you know what? I can breathe water air now, and I just do. That's literally a fish coming out of the water.
Nature adapt all the time.
No, we don't.
Look at the creatures that live deep down in the sea.
We don't see anything adapt. We don't see anything change. We don't see any half fossils. Even nobody's ever been digging and been like, holy shit, a half a fossil. Look, I can still see the remnants of part of it. This must be from the.
I know, but that biological matter has been, removed. So you do see half fossils. You just don't see the
Where?
other half that hasn't been fossilized yet.
How would it fossilize if the biological matter?
Earthquakes and shit.
If the biological matter is gone, then how does the rest of the fossil form?
Because that part had already fossilized.
But it wasn't there yet.
It was the thin part.
You had to turn it topwise. Topwise. Like, it's stupid.
The pigeons took the other half.
Right.
They got hungry on their way carrying messages.
There you go.
And they saw something on the rocks. They pulled it, didn't realize the other half was already a
Oh,
rock.
shit, dude. That was still going to become a fossil. You ate that shit.
Fuck it, I'm hungry.
Do you know how stupid that is? Do you know how
all the way
stupid
to Germany from here?
your belief in fossils
I'm
is?
taking apart for their bridge.
You believe that organic matter can turn into stone. Like it's like a lack of basic understanding.
I mean, we were kind of conditioned to believe that with the mummies, the Egyptians mummifying the dead and it turning, it's all hard and.
No, the mummies look like fucking yucky raisins. They don't turn into stones. They look gross. They look like dried up pieces of poop. Like, it's fucking weird.
It's so gross.
But like that just, it's the idea that like the bug fell into the dirt and then a layer of dirt covered the bug and the bug didn't like thrash around or anything. It just died. And somehow the little pocket that it was in sealed itself to the point where it was like it made a mold basically. And then over time, that organic matter was replaced by silica through rain or volcanoes or some bullshit. And it's like that, but that's not what happens when organic matter dies. Especially not things that are like mammals and shit. The idea that a dinosaur, look, you can still see its feathers. Have you seen those things where the fossils try to claim that you can see feathers?
Yeah.
Go ahead, explain that one.
I mean.
Yeah. The dinosaur fell into the water and then the layer of soot came over it and it remained undisturbed for such a long period of time that it turned into a fossil. It's not even a cat. It's like, what? What do you mean? It made an or the idea of footprints. A dinosaur made a footprint in the ground.
So that's a joint that fossilized, that little round one. That's a perfect joint that fossilized.
So you're told. I mean, find me half of one of these. Find me one of these joints that's halfway there. That's halfway in the transition between going from a joint of an animal into a... Do you understand? Like, that's got to be a gazillion years old, according to the narrative. That no deer is dying, and then its bones are turning into stone. Where is this happening? We're so conditioned to it. Me saying, show me the half a fossil isn't registering as much as it should be. But think about that. There should be all sorts of half a fossils everywhere. There should be 3/4 fossils, half a fossils.
Like I said, there's a basket on the front porch with a ton of fossils in it. And there's a lot of them where only a piece of whatever it was captured in that rock. So the other part of whatever creature that
you're missing. I'm not saying the half of the actual thing. I'm saying the thing that's halfway through the process, 3/4 of the way through the process. There would have to be, because there's always has to be like new fossils being like, you know what I mean? Like, you would have to find things that are in that process so that the fossils can be found a million years from now. There would be always new things dying in these things, and we'd be just, oh, look, we disturbed this thing and it was halfway in, it was 3/4, it was 70%, it was 20% fossilized. That shit never happens. How do I feel about Trump getting elected? It's just what it is. It's gross. It shows how stupid everyone is. It just validates it more than anything.
It captured it in a nutshell. Did I say that?
Whatever. It shows just how brainwashed and stupid people are. It validates it. We knew this was going to happen, but at the same time, if I woke up that morning and it was like, oh, Kamala won. We've got a Jew vice president. We've got a Jew first gentleman. Like, ugh. It would still be it would be gross.
It wouldn't be just as gross.
Right.
It would be gross, but nowhere near as gross as we feel.
And the thing is, I don't believe the president has any real power. I don't think he does anything. No.
He appointed the Supreme Court justices.
He doesn't have, he does what he's told to do. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, whoever it is not sitting at his fucking in his Oval Office, at his Oval desk, with a bunch of papers on one side and an adding machine over here or something like that. And he's, okay, well, let me check this. Okay, let me see. Oh, look, I could actually take $1,000 out of this thing and I can put it back in. Oh, and then this. Oh, but then I got it. He's not figuring shit out. Especially with all the golf and shit these guys always play. These guys aren't doing anything other than reading lines, than playing a goddamn role. And with Trump, you can absolutely tell. There's the Trump that's like, burr, 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 burr. And then there's the Trump that's either reading or like, maybe he has like contacts or something that he can read from but he shuts down and he starts talking like this and he barely moves. And then he'll say a bunch of shit and he'll be like, and this policy is this way. And I really like that. Like, dude, why are you validating that you like the thing that you wrote about in the first place if you actually wrote it? But like Trump is like, I said it yesterday, like the Transformers, they were the quintessons where they would spin around and a different face would be there for each thing. And it's like the United States is the quintesson and Trump is the war face. So when the system says we're going to go to war against the people, the Trump face comes on and that's what you're going to get. If it would have been the Kamala face, well, they would have been trying to smooth things over for a little while longer. But they weren't trying to smooth things over. They felt they had done a good enough job. I mean, again, when was the last time you heard a Trump supporter talk about COVID? And what Trump did? and how, you know, this guy that's all about the America, all about making America great again. This guy is why so many people lost everything. Because they weren't allowed to go to work. They weren't allowed to operate their businesses because of the Trump presidency. But you'll never hear anybody talk about that. None of them do. None of them do anything. Not they don't do nothing. They just do what they're told. They're figureheads. They're spokespeople. That's all they are. They're not smart. Trump isn't smart. When was the last time you heard Trump say something intelligent where you were like, oh shit, you know what? I had never even thought about things like that, but you know, he's right. That makes more sense. Can you think of a single time that's happened? He's an idiot. And that's literally what they told us about him. They told us that he's an idiot. They told us he doesn't get briefing. And the thing is that the Trump supporters are like little mirrors. They're just as stupid as he is. When the people were complaining, oh, well, the only reason Kamala did so well is because she knew all the questions beforehand. She got all the answers beforehand. Because you're stupid. All of the candidates get the questions beforehand. Trump is just too stupid to read the questions and get briefed and all that stuff. So then he ends up looking stupid. But the crazy part is, like he said, he could shoot somebody on national TV and his supporters would still support it. They're not embarrassed by what they saw. They saw this fool get destroyed by this dumb woman so badly in a debate that he didn't want to do any more debates. Prior to, he was the one calling for 3 debates. There needs to be 3 debates. Kamala won't do it. She's scared. She's just a feeble woman, this, that, and the other. She's too scared to do multiple debates. And Kamala kept saying, all I need is 1. And then after the debate, they were like, Kamala, do you want to do another debate? She was like, yeah, anytime. I've always said I'm down to do it. I just only needed the 1. And they said, Trump, do you want to do another debate? And he was like, no. President that they saw debate his, quote, competition 1 time. And lose, right, lose tremendously. And know that's what happened to the point where like so now imagine if world affairs are what you think they are, and these world leaders are who you think they are. You don't think any of them saw the same thing I saw? You think that's a situation that would work out well if there's some sort of, you know, crisis happening and some other leaders or, you know, some coalition or whatever gets together and says, okay, we need to talk about the facts, and this idiot hasn't bothered to be briefed? That's going to work out well. But that's only if you believe the systems are... the system is real. Data centers are going to get us. I mean, I keep wondering, like, how long it's going to take before the Trump supporters... Like, it really seems like Trump sort of set himself up to fail. Right? To me, if gas prices and food prices don't drop by at least half, well, he was fucking lying, wasn't he? And how long is it going to be before, you know, gas prices haven't dropped, whatever, before the people realize they were duped? And they were duped by stupidity. Like, the problem is inflation. It's not the president. Again, are you stupid enough to think that Biden's sitting there and he's got this big, long grocery list? And it says, all right, broccoli is, you know, $1.68 a pound. And Biden's like, let's make it $1.98 a pound. Okay. Beets are $3.22 each. You know, and he just goes through the whole... Is that what you think? Do you think that Biden is raising the prices of groceries? And then Trump's going to come back through and be like, all right, let me see that list again. Now oh, no, take that down. Take that down by $1. Take that one down by 50 cents. Like, do you think that's what happens? How is it you think the president affects the price of groceries? I'd love to know what people think. I doubt Trump will deflate things. Of course, he's not. He can't. How can he? This is the thing. No, the presidents don't do that. Oh, all I know is that before when Trump was president, I was paying X amount of dollars per gallon, and then like a few weeks after Biden got in president, I was paying more. Yeah, what was going on? The thing about the whole idea of gas prices is just manufactured. Gas prices should be nowhere near $3 per gallon. The price of oil is less than $100 per barrel nowadays. So why are we paying way more than the 88 cents I was paying as a kid when gas was at $100 a barrel? Like it just it's surprising, and it's I don't know the word, like deflating, upsetting. It's crazy how stupid everyone is. Like, what you think politicians actually do all day long? Do you really think you couldn't do that job? You think you couldn't wake up at whatever time you wanted in the lap of luxury, get taken around, go have a nice breakfast, then go do some sort of appearance somewhere, shake some hands, say some shit, and then go have a nice martini lunch, and then, end your day at like 2:15 when you then go to another appearance where everywhere you go, you're celebrated and everybody gives you shit for free and they kiss your ass, and you really don't think you could do that? Play some golf. Play golf with people who are purposefully going to lose to you. Like, this is... like, I wish people would sort of... the fact that I say all the things that I say, and you, whoever you are watching, you can't just come in here and be like, no, dude, you're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. That in itself should tell you something. Like, understand that you've been made to be ignorant. And the people that think they're the smartest, or the people that you think are the smartest, they're just regurgitators. They're more than... I mean, a lot of them, yeah, they're smart, but they're only smart in the ways that they're allowed to be. The idea that there's a genocide happening right now, and that genocide is going to lead to the death of lots of Americans, lots of American kids, 18, 19, 20, that are going to be sent off to go die for Israeli bullshit, has nothing to do with us. And Israel is picking it. Israel is the one out there being the aggressor with everything. The two largest aircraft carriers we have are over there stationed in Palestinian Israeli waters. How much do you think those things cost to run every single day? These aircraft carriers are bigger than you can imagine. You can't really wrap your head around the size of these things. The energy it takes to use these things. What is fueling these things? How do these work? They have these super massive nuclear reactors that we don't understand. I still don't think submarines exist. I think we're being lied to pretty badly about submarines. Just think about it.
Submarines are fucking scary.
But they don't make any sense. how are they creating air? And when you look into the history of submarines, you'd be really surprised by how nonsensical it is. And how there's like this semi-detailed history of like the 1500s, 1600s, blah blah blah. And then it's like there's that yada yada thing where we're suddenly in the 90s and or the 1900s, and we have these massive submarines that can basically fly through the water. They can go from up high to down low and not get crushed by the immense pressures. They don't run into giant whales and shit all the time. Can you imagine like the slightest? I mean, it's just such a weird concept. And like I keep saying, where do they get their air from? What proof do you have submarines exist? We've all seen like pictures of submarines like coming out of water or something like that, but if they make little boats that can just go beneath the water surface and then pop out, that's all you're seeing. You literally have no proof that submarines are going way down deep and all that shit. You don't know. And I know that's one of those things that people are going to have a hard time with. Of course there are submarines. You'll say that. Of course there are. But you literally have no fucking proof. and especially when you start talking about the history of them, the idea that we were somehow doing this as early as World War One. How could we see? You know, prior to sonar, the concept of a submarine just seems fucking stupid. How would you ever see? And then sonar, man, it sure is a good thing that like we're just so capable with our sonar, and we just have been. Like, it's all stupid. I think a lot of the stuff they tell us is just stuff so it scares us into compliance. We know that it's false narrative to scare us into compliance, or they're way more advanced than we think they are. But it's just nuts. It really is a whole, you know, like the history of submarines. Every single story about the history of submarines ends in catastrophic failure. And then suddenly we just sort of figure it out. It's all just crazy. It's all crazy. And here we are today reading about the history of whoever. They are quite advanced. You don't know. They would have to be. But again, you don't know. Even if you've like gone to what you know, I've gone and seen them. I've gone to a you know, one that was docked somewhere and they let us go walk through it and all that shit. Okay. That's a boat. You know, it's just a boat. You know, and when it goes down, it just goes down to deep enough to maybe where you can't see it, and it goes along the surface. Let's see something. Submarines in action. Let's see what I can see.
Welcome to Eagle Eye Military.
Okay. Here we go. Here's the boat. Okay, the boat's going to go underwater. Okay, didn't see anything but the boat dropped below the water a little bit. Yeah. Boat going across the top of the water. Oh, now we switch down to that. Okay, here we go. Look at that's official. He's using his binoculars. Oh, there's the submarine. Oh, there those guys are out on the boat. Hanging out on the boat. Just hanging out on the boat. Okay, now what's the boat gonna do? Is the boat gonna go under the water? Let's see the boat go underwater and go way deep down, deep. So, understand, I've never done this before. So the fact that I didn't just pull up a video that's showing me how stupid I am is kind of weird, don't you think? You thought for sure if I pulled this up I'd see footage, didn't you? You definitely didn't think I'd see a bunch of boats. Oh, now we're back to being boats underwater. Oh, look at that's official. She's on the telephone. Oh, look at how official that looks. They're all in the control room. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That really, really impressive animation that they're giving us. Upper velocity, 0.7. Here we go. Hang on, we're going to crash through. It's Atari. They didn't even shake a little bit. The people didn't even shake like they just busted through ice. Did you just see that? Chubby girl, look at this. This is supposedly what they're doing. Look at the crew members. Watch. They're going fast because they're going to break that ice. Look at the people. Impact. They're in a submarine. And they didn't shake. Nothing happened. They just broke through that multi-thick layer of ice.
Try that again. What did you see in the windows behind their heads?
In the windows behind their heads, I didn't see anything. Oh, those aren't windows.
Are you sure?
They can't be. No, those can't be windows. Those are lights. Yeah, lights.
Oh, is it lights?
Yeah, they can't have windows on a submarine, you dumb girl. Okay, so here we go. Here's the outside footage that just, they happened to let somebody out, I guess, down the road, and he walked over and set up the camera so that they could show us that. Yep. That's 100% proof that submarines exist. Look, it broke through that slush. That snow area. Do you understand? We're talking about metal. Basically a pressurized can. That is going super fast and slamming into ice. Are we tricking ourselves into thinking that multi-foot ice is like
Easy to break.
right? If you took a car and you smashed it into a wall of ice, how do you think it would fare? And I'm supposed to believe that this is what the submarines are doing every time they want to bust through the ice like that. They just go busting on through. Again, good thing that cameraman happened to be there. Look how thick that ice is supposed to be. They just busted through that thick-ass ice, huh?
You know how much force that submarine has, right? It lets its air bubbles out. And
And then the top isn't damaged at all. Look how little the peoples are pushing that ice that's, what, 4 feet thick? Well, then how did that get there? Because it's a stage setup. That's why there's fucking cameras there. Now we're back to... Oh, now we're inside the submarine. Oh, he's firing a torpedo. I still think, again, they crashed into the ice and nothing. There wasn't a jolt. There wasn't anything. They just crashed through the ice. Do you know how nervous I was to watch this? I could have been so wrong. Here we go. Oh, look. They're firing a torpedo from the boat.
Yeah, baby.
Dude, stop it. Okay, great. Go sit down. Nope. You see that? The rocket came out of the water. Pew, pew, pew. The rocket comes out of the water. Oh, look at that. Oh, the rocket comes out of the water. They launched it, and now it's going to go hit the ship. That you can't even see the ship. But that's the ship. It's a dummy ship. Oh, look at how... Oh, it blew it in half. Because you're 100% sure that's real. Oh, here we go. Look at... That's that. Look at it. Oh, the night vision. Because kablooey. Because that's not a boat on the top of the water, though, right? Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Some more submarine footage. Okay, here we go. We got our shield. They have this window on the top of the submarine. Look at, how are they busting through ice with that motherfucker there? It's a window. Oh, look, oh.
There's windows on submersibles.
Here we go. Here goes the boats. Now let's see the boat. Go make the boat go down. Make the boat go down. Just make the boat go down. Make the boat go down? Nobody's gonna make the boat go down. Make the boat go down? Now we're inside the hangar. Okay, so what are the chances? I have no clue that in 2023. What are the chances that I say submarines aren't real? They're just goofy boats. And I look up submarines in action on YouTube, and I click on like the official Navy sort of website on a 15-minute video, and that's all we see. If it didn't work this way, like I said, my wife would be the first one to be like, "You're stupid. It's this." And I have all these dumbass trolls that always watch. So, can you hold this for a second? I have all these dumbass trolls that watch. So why wouldn't they say something?
Aw, he called you all dumbasses. Hi, guys. I was deep in my readings. I was studying up on some stuff, so I don't know where y'all left off. And I don't know what's being said. Oh, damn it, I don't have my... Oh, they're on my head. Maybe I'll get an idea. All the tech in general, like, the stuff.
I heard you.
From Nikola Tesla. I don't know how old that comment is.
Can you go make lunch?
I don't.
All right. Thank you. Do you know how strange that was? Do you know how what a risk I take doing shit like that? I could easily look like a complete fucking idiot. That all this, look, dumbass, here's another footage, here's more footage, here's this, here's that. That's what should have happened. Why didn't that happen? He's good, he's chilling. Yeah, he's back there doing something, who knows? No, but he's fine. I know you're worried. He didn't fall off the thing, he's fine. Okay, gotta go get him. No, we gotta go get the Capstars. It's fine.
Oh, hi, baby. Baby.
I mean, that's amazing to me. U.S. Navy submarine in action.
The United States Navy boasts one of the most advanced submarine fleets globally, classified into 3 operational categories: ballistic missile submarines, guided missile submarines, and attack submarines, each serving distinct roles. At the forefront are the ballistic missile submarines known as boomers, which carry nuclear submarine-launched ballistic missiles, forming a critical part of the U.S. nuclear triad. The Navy operates 14 Ohio-class boomers, providing a robust sea-based deterrent. Next are the guided missile submarines, originally designed as boomers but modified to launch conventional munitions and support special operations. The Navy has 4 Ohio-class guided missile submarines. Lastly, the attack submarines, or hunter-killers, are specifically engineered to seek out and destroy enemy submarines. The U.S. Navy operates 3 classes of attack subs, including 31 Los Angeles-class vessels, 19 Virginia-class subs, and 3 formidable Seawolf-class submarines, ensuring maritime dominance. United States.
Ooh. You realize how much damage I'm doing, right? How come nobody else is talking about this? I guess it's just because you're not told to. You never think to. You know what we're going to do? We're going to restart. So if you guys want to join us, please do. Pedophiles, kill yourself.